Oh my god. They're making this way too easy. P.O.V, yeah, I'm calling it P.O.V, is a particularly interesting episode not because of how good it is, but because of what it does with its setup. Does that make it fun to watch? Let's find out. Twilight is going to see Pinkie, Rarity, and Applejack at the train station to see how much fun they had on their boat trip. However, the three seem to be peeved with each other and aren't interested in talking things over. Twilight tries to understand what really happened by speaking with each one of them individually, each of them telling their own side of the story. But as each one becomes harder to believe, Twilight must look for her own solution to the problem, which just might lie within a clue that connects the three stories together. For an episode that has so many crazy things in it, it seems to be very well paced. The beginning does feel exposition-y with spelling out the premise of the plot and telling us why Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash aren't in it, but it still keeps a good focus on the issue that Twilight needs to solve. A setup like this gives the writers a great opportunity to have fun with the characters by doing whatever they want to them without consequence. Seeing as how their portrayals are done through the naive perspectives of the characters themselves, making up stories based on how they saw the situation and making it as literally unbelievable as possible. A lot of the craziness of the stories comes from the girls' willingness to insinuate the personality traits of their peers while making themselves look reasonable. What helps make this funny is knowing that these stories are made up and in no way true, but nonetheless embracing just how contrived they are. We all know Applejack would never act like a real pirate, Rarity would never be this ignorant in her high class, and Pinkie Pie isn't this stupid, regardless of what whiny jerkasses in the fandom believed at the time. But the episode still has fun with only the idea of the characters acting like that while putting them in this type of situation. And by keeping the idea separate from reality, it doesn't affect the portrayal of the actual characters in any way. The bonus stuff in the episode is also pretty nice. The pet cameos felt like they helped forward the plot instead of just being shoehorned in while still getting their personalities across to a T. Spike still does a great straight man trying to figure out how the three got back to civilization, which leads to a fairly awkward anti-climax. The humor is pretty good, managing to be funny while helping to move the story forward, and the tri-horned bunyip has a kind of weird design that I'm sure people will enjoy. What really makes this episode stand out is that it takes what seems like a basic misunderstanding kind of premise, and turning it around into somewhat of a mystery. Twilight was secretly piecing together what the stories could possibly have in common in order to distinguish what made the boat sink, which shows not only some interesting clue finding, but also some high-level thinking skills. Noticing every small detail was something happening in the background, and it's brought to the foreground for a pretty interesting twist. It never would have occurred that this was how the problem would be resolved, and the episode clearly distracts it from the viewers by hiding it behind some enjoyably crazy stories. That's a fairly good feat. And the revelation between Diane, Rary, and Jack is a nice one too. We keep being told that they were all focused on getting the others out of their element, and they did think strongly about how they can make the vacation fun for them. But perhaps they thought a little bit too hard about it. They spent so much time thinking about their own perspectives that they never really paid attention while on the ship, which explains why we never see what really happened on the ship before it sank, which makes the idea of an open-minded perspective on what really happened more possible. But what makes this ending really stand out is that the conflict came from a source that this show has probably never done before. The three were thinking about their friends, but not in the right way. Thinking of each other caused the problem. They were too distracted to see how their peers would have gone about making the boat trip fun, so they had a lack of communication. It's actually nice to see that a problem can come from good intentions while still being resolved by those exact intentions. P.O.V is a fairly interesting way to keep the season going while still being a fun episode to watch, with silly stories, a good mystery, and a sound conclusion. It's an episode that I'll certainly be seeing again sometime soon. MisAnthro Pony, over and out.
For sure. There's nothing like a luxurious adventure boat party to get you out of your element.
You said it.